So you're thinking about moving to Livingston, Montana, but you don't know that much about the area, or you're kind of wondering about, the good and the bad. Well, in this video, I'm going to do exactly that. We're going to go through those positives and negatives, or pros and cons of owning property or living in Livingston, Montana. It's one of the smaller towns here in southwest Montana, tucked beneath these amazing mountains right along the Yellowstone River, and there's definitely some important things to know before moving here or buying property. If you would like to see more of Livingston, driving around that downtown, checking out some of those beautiful historic buildings and some of those wonderful neighborhoods, then be sure to check out one of my previous videos where I did a full vlog tour around Livingston, all over town and those different neighborhoods and different homes and different price points as well. And I also have a previous video where we dove into Google Maps and gave you kind of a feel of the lay of the land. And of course, I've got videos all around the area here in southwest Montana, like Bozeman, Three Forks, Belgrade, and Gallatin Gateway, and Big Sky, Montana as well. So as I said, I'm going to be going over those pros and cons of moving to or living in Livingston, Montana. So let's get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Livingston, Montana, as well as the surrounding areas here in southwest Montana, like Big Sky and Gallatin Gateway, Belgrade and Bozeman, and Three Forks, then be sure to subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Livingston, Montana, and those surrounding areas here in southwest Montana. My name is Hallie. I'm a local real estate agent, and the team and I, we get calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move here in beautiful southwest Montana, and we absolutely love it. Whether you're looking to buy or sell or move or invest in the next 9 days or 90 days, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and we'd be honored to help you find your place here in southwest Montana. All my information is in the description below. So one of the things I get asked most frequently from people who are not from Montana or haven't lived here before is about the weather. It's both a pro and a con. The weather here in Montana tends to be, we do have 4 seasons, first of all, but we do experience pretty cold, intense, snowy winters. And that can be something of a shock to some people who aren't from, this type of climate. Fall and spring are pretty short and condensed. We kind of refer to them as shoulder seasons around here. Sometimes they can be pretty short. Summer is a little bit longer than those two, and then winter is definitely our longest season when it comes to weather. The snow has been known to fly any given day or season all year round here, although those summer snowstorms are pretty rare. Now, I believe that Montana actually holds some kind of record where there's only one date out of the entire calendar year where we've never seen any kind of snowfall across the state. But again, those summer storms are going to be pretty rare. Most of the snow around here is concentrated between October or November all the way through, April, a little bit into May at times as well. Now, of course, the mountains are going to be where the majority of that snow does fall, which makes this an absolute pro for most people who live here. It makes for absolutely epic skiing and snowboarding, as well as snowmobiling and ice climbing and all the other fun winter outdoor adventure opportunities in the area here. But for skiing and snowboarding, of course, we have Big Sky to the south of Bozeman, Bridger Bowl to the northwest of Livingston, and a little bit further north of Livingston, you're going to find the smaller ski area of Showdown as well. So those who aren't used to that snow or aren't, getting out there and enjoying that winter weather may find our winters particularly long and cold at times as well. We do experience sub-zero temperatures, typically at least once a year, somewhere in January or February on average. Now, Livingston is also known for being particularly windy. The storms can actually come from seemingly nowhere, especially down in Paradise Valley, south of Livingston. I recall hiking down that way. We were up in the mountains in the summer, of course, and a big thunderstorm came out of nowhere, and we did have to find shelter, of course, but the storm left just as fast as it came through. So typically that's, everybody's pretty used to that sort of thing around here. So So one negative aspect to those winters is that our days do get very short in the middle of winter. The sun's not going to come up until around 8 a.m. and we're going to see it disappear sometimes just before 5 p.m. So those short days make for, less sunlight, colder nights, colder days, all of the above. So it's definitely something to keep in mind because we are quite a bit further north in the country here. So I always tell people, remember, the best thing to do is to get out there and embrace winter, find a way to enjoy it, go sledding, build a snowman, try skiing, take a lesson, find a friend with some snowmobiles and learn how to do that. Just find a way to embrace it and enjoy yourself and get out there, maybe try snowshoeing even, and the winters won't feel quite so long. Of course, with the cold and snow comes winter roads. Now, the city and county and DOT do the absolute best job that they can to clear those roadways and make everything as safe as possible. But the roads are still going to get slick and there's still going to be times where visibility is poor. So it's always best to use caution and have a vehicle that is well equipped to, handle those sorts of conditions. And plan ahead. Be sure to give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Now, of course, this definitely includes the Bozeman Pass as well. That is the part of the interstate that connects Livingston and Bozeman, Montana. While it's not the highest, mountain pass or the most difficult by any means, there are some winter storms that definitely come through that area. And there was at least one instance this past winter where that roadway did have to get closed due to weather circumstances. Now, much like the rest of Southwest Montana, the climate in Livingston overall is fairly dry. Even with all that snow, we tend to get dry, fluffy snow, which makes for that wonderful skiing and snowboarding, of course. But in the summer, that does mean that there are times where we go, for longer periods without much rain or moisture. So we don't have the humidity that a lot of other places in the country might experience. That's one reason that the skiing and snowboarding around here is as amazing as it is, and they call it skiing the cold smoke at Bridger Bowl for a reason. Now, in this area overall, of course, you're going to see plenty of farmland, just outside of town or in between towns, all over Southwest Montana, really. Most of that is irrigated because of the drier climate around here. Now, with that dry climate, that does also mean we experience, a fire season. Now, whether that means fires are local or anywhere in the mountains nearby, or we're just getting smoke from, neighboring areas and there hasn't really been that weather to clear the air, so to speak, we do experience that. Typically, around August, we'll get some of that smoke hanging in the air. It doesn't happen every single year, and typically those fires are far enough away that they're not, threatening town or anything at all like that. But we are surrounded by mountains, and those forest fires do occur. Now, with all this talk about the weather patterns and the, dry summers and the amazing snow, of course, one of the biggest pros for living in all of Southwest Montana is the opportunity to get outside and enjoy this beautiful state. That outdoor recreational opportunities around here are plentiful. In Livingston specifically, of course, we've got the Yellowstone River that runs right through town, which is a major attraction, of course, for, boating and rafting and wonderful fly fishing. And then, of course, there's the camping and hiking and biking and hunting all over the area as well. And every summer in late July, of course, there's the Livingston Roundup Rodeo that happens, as well as a wonderful 9-hole golf course right off of the Yellowstone River right here in town. The downtown area of Livingston is absolutely one of the most wonderful things about it. With the Yellowstone Gateway Museum and the Livingston Depot Center with railway history exhibits in a 1902 depot, the whole area just feels very saturated in history and feels very much like the Old West at times. It's a great community and atmosphere, and the historic downtown puts on some lovely events as well, especially in the summer, from a farmer's market to the summer evening art walks, and even some small music events like the Fiddler's Music Fest as well. One major positive is that Livingston is known for having some of the most wonderful people. It is a friendly and welcoming town with a great focus on community and getting to know your neighbors and getting to know everybody in town. And it's not just a beautiful place. There's absolutely wonderful people here as well. Now, I mentioned Paradise Valley a little while ago with the storms, but it is an absolutely wonderful area just south of Livingston. There's some wonderful little music venues and getaways in that area as well. The first of which being Pine Creek. It's a cute little lodge. They feature some amazing live music. So it's not just this hike to Pine Creek Falls and up to Pine Creek Lake, which is absolutely phenomenal as well. It's also this wonderful little venue with music and some great dining. Now, if you go a little bit further south towards Prairie and Immigrant, Montana, you'll find Chico Hot Springs, which got its start in 1900. It's a great place for some fine dining, a soak in the natural hot springs, and just to take in the beauty of that whole area as well. And right there in that same area, we also find Sage Lodge. It's right there off of the Yellowstone River, so it's a wonderful spot to launch a day of fishing perhaps or other adventure, and you can also take in some wonderful dining, and they do have a spa as well. Of course, if you continue south on that same highway about an hour from Livingston, you're going to find yourself in Gardner, Montana, which is one of the main entrances to Yellowstone National Park. So with that and that proximity to Yellowstone, one of the main industries in Livingston, or primary industries, is definitely tourism. So the summer months are going to be a bit busier in Livingston than the shoulder seasons or winter. The town of Livingston and the surrounding areas are obviously quite outdoor focused. There's some wonderful parks. There tends to be a lot of beautiful open spaces in general, and with that, you're going to find some of the most incredible views, in my opinion, in all of Southwest Montana, down south of Livingston and around Livingston overall. With the Yellowstone River right there and the 3 mountain ranges surrounding the Bridgers, the Absarokas, and the Crazies, it's just absolutely breathtaking in every direction. And of course, there is a reason that they call that area south of Livingston Paradise Valley. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, I mentioned it's a small town in Montana. Livingston has a population of about 8,000 people. And with that and the beautiful little downtown, you are going to find some lovely little, small businesses and shops, but you're not going to find a lot of, larger shopping options. So larger grocery stores or, mega stores or, major retailers or department stores, Livingston doesn't really have. Thankfully, Bozeman isn't far. It's about 30 minutes down the interstate, so you do have that nearby for those additional resources. You will, of course, find sufficient, groceries and a hardware store and that sort of thing. But for those specialty stores or larger department stores, Livingston really doesn't have anything like that. Along those same lines, there does tend to be a lack of jobs in Livingston. That's not to say that there aren't any. There's some wonderful small businesses as well as some larger companies there, and it's certainly growing. But depending on what kind of opportunity you're looking for, or if you can even work from home, it's a beautiful place to do that. But some people do live in Livingston for that more affordable, home prices and whatnot, and then commute over to Bozeman for additional opportunities over that Bozeman Pass all year round. Now, that proximity to Bozeman is a positive in a lot of ways, obviously, but one major one is the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport. While it's not a hub, there are plenty of direct flights, or you're going to find a pretty easy connection in either Denver or Salt Lake or Seattle, perhaps. And the number of direct flights is growing all the time. Considering that so many other small towns in the state are hours from an airport, Livingston being 30 to 45 minutes away with it just outside of Belgrade there, that's an absolutely wonderful pro. And as with many other small towns in Montana, Livingston doesn't have much in the way of public transportation. So it's a fairly vehicle-dependent town. There may be a few Ubers or that sort of thing in town, but there's really no public bus system. Thankfully, the town itself is fairly small and pretty easy to get around, though. Now, Livingston may be small, but it is not lacking in absolutely phenomenal dining. A local favorite, or a favorite across this part of the state, is the Montana Rib and Chop House, known for some fine dining there, to Neptune's Eatery and Cotabatic Brewing, and of course, Mark's In-N-Out, which is a drive-in style burger place that was established in 1954 with some phenomenal milkshakes and burgers, much of which is locally sourced. Now there's also some wonderful breakfast and brunch options, as well as Gill's Goods, which is a local favorite, and the Hungry Mexican, and of course the Murray. So Livingston has plenty to offer when it comes to everything from fine dining to just really great, inexpensive, amazing food. Now, the cost of living in Livingston is a bit higher than the national average, but it is not as much higher as, say, Belgrade or Bozeman. And one major factor in that is housing prices, whether it be, renting a home or purchasing a home. The prices in Livingston are definitely a bit lower. So jumping into those home prices specifically, Livingston is definitely going to be higher than the national average, but not as high as, say, Bozeman, and definitely not as high as, Big Sky, Montana, for instance. There are currently 44 residential properties listed in Park County, which is where Livingston is located, and the median list price for those is of just over $800,000. Now, of course, there's going to be some larger properties on a lot of acreage, very large, lavish homes, in the 10 million and up range, but there's also some wonderful properties in town and around town that are even below 500,000. So it's a pretty wide variety in Livingston overall. The median price per square foot is just over $400 per square foot. Now, the town of Livingston has 4 public schools, which are all fairly highly rated according to niche.com. There are 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school. And of course, there are plenty of pre-K and private school options all over the area as well. The folks who live in Livingston, live there for a variety of reasons. Perhaps some wanted to find a more affordable place to live and commute to Bozeman for work. Others may have lived there their whole lives and are really just an integral part of that community. And of course, there are some who have embraced that small town life and founded their own piece of Montana here in Livingston. Maybe they were looking for more space, or were just looking for that small town charm and found that here in Livingston. But either way, people who live in Livingston tend to absolutely love it. It's a fantastic community where people really care about one another, and it's an absolutely beautiful place with outdoor adventure and recreation at your fingertips all around you. Wide open spaces, opportunity to have land, perhaps for horses or maybe a riverfront property, or just enjoy and embrace that Montana life. So if that's the kind of thing that you're hoping to find, wide open spaces, views in every direction, and that small Montana community, Livingston is an absolutely wonderful place to be. I hope you found value in this video. And if there's anything that I missed that you think should be on this list of pros and cons of living in Livingston, or if you've got any questions, please be sure to leave those in the comments below. And as always, whether you're looking to buy or sell or move or invest in the next 9 days or 90 days, be sure to get in touch. Just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I'd be honored to help you find your place here in beautiful Livingston and the surrounding areas here in Southwest Montana. And until next time, I hope to show you around town.